Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is the greatest time of the day. From the center of the universe, New York City, it's the main event you've been waiting for. It's time to go in the cage with Cyclone.
Guess who it is? It is me. I'm back after another long hiatus. Episode 19 of In the Cage with Cyclone on this Monday, July 30th, because that's when I'm taping this episode. It's still a little bit too, warm and sticky for my liking right now. It's supposed to be thunderstorms on and off for the next, I think, 2 weeks. Noah is on speed dial on his arc coming over to pick us all up. So I'm back in Brick's mini studio, and I just want to fill you in on the studio situation for the show. I believe I have found a new home for the show, which means the show tapes regularly again. Thank God. I looked into a couple places. Things didn't seem to mesh too well. But I think I found a spot. I want you guys to keep following the new Facebook page, CYCIE, P is in Peter, RODZ, Psyche Prods on Facebook. And you'll hear about it first. You'll be the first to hear where I'm going, if I'm going, when I'm going, how I'm going. Now I do want to say that this show I am dedicating to somebody. Cyclone's #1 fan, I think it's safe to say that, is a very special woman in Iowa. Susan Walker. She's not doing too good at all. Last I heard, she was in the ICU unit in a hospital, and she's a dog rescue. She is without a doubt one of the most good-hearted people on the planet. She really is. And my prayers go out to her that she's able to recover, get better, and hopefully become very, very much a part of the show once again. So what we're going to be doing today is I'm recapping UFC Fox 30. UFC on Fox 30. We'll be talking some interim belts. We'll talk about should the UFC drop their ranking system. And a whole bunch more stuff will happen on this program. I want to remind you the ways you guys can follow and contact me. Hit me up on Twitter, CYCIE19. Go to CycloneComedy.com. And by the way, if you go to the shop page on the website, prices have been slashed. I am so much in tune with the people. There isn't so much money to be spent right now. But people need to shop for gifts for people. So what I have done for all of you is I've cut my prices. So head over to cyclonecomedy.com and buy something. You can follow all the articles I write on boneheadpicks.com. And the new Facebook page. There is no more Cyclone Variety Show or In the Cage with Cyclone on Facebook. They are no more. Done. No more. It is now Psyche Prods. CYCIEPRODZ. And just to let you know how I came up with that name, I had many moons ago a 2-episode arc on Oz, and the production company for Oz was Oz Prods. And I always said that if I was able to come up with something, do something in the entertainment business myself, that I would call the company Psyche Prods. And sure enough, if you go to facebook.com/Psyche Prods, PRODZ, like and follow the page, because that's where everything about me is at. So what we're going to do is we're going to kick off this shing-ding right after these quick messages.
This is Frank Edgar. This is the Barbarian Tim Bosch.
I'm World Series of Fighting undefeated lightweight champion Justin Gaethje.
MMA legend, UFC Hall of Famer, Iceman. Check it out. If you got the guts, step in the cage with Cyclone.
Okay, we're back. So let's recap the first one because all the MMA shows haven't started yet. Although by the time you guys hear this, it'll all be old news. But I will say this about the next to last UFC on Fox card from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. With, by the way, Bret the Hitman Hart, the excellence of execution, sitting cage side. This was actually borderline technically pay-per-view worthy. Not that it was a super stacked card by any means, but it was an exciting card. There's really no other way to say it. Let's start from the very, very top. Eddie and Dustin, the rematch. Look, this is a rematch that had to happen, and due to politics between the fighters and their camps, it took 14 months to go down. So what we get out of this fight, and with the way it ended, and this whole, is it a controversy, is it not a controversy, of a 12-6 elbow from Eddie Alvarez, which actually started the beginning of the end for him. The way you have to look at it is plain and simple. There needs to be a trilogy. The first fight, obviously, is a no contest. Dustin taking this one. I don't want to see the third fight next. Let Eddie fight someone else. Let Dustin fights someone else, but there needs to be a third fight between these two. These two are just perfect foils for each other. It's sort of like Nate and Connor, honestly. Everyone has their significant other, and quite frankly, I think these two are each other's significant others. Homo, not homo. But I definitely think that a third fight between these two needs to happen. Now, should Mark Goddard have stood them up after that elbow, whether it hurt Dustin or not, isn't the point. The point of the matter is the rulebooks say no 12-6 elbows. Eddie throws a 12-6 elbow. Guess what? got to be you got to lose that position. You got to stand him up. You got to restart it. As I take a sip of my Mango Madness on this Madness Monday. Not that Snapple is a sponsor of mine, but they make some good stuff. Normally I am a Chopperaka fan, but there was no I don't understand how there was no Chopperaka in the store across the street, but Mango Madness is a very, very good second type drink. Anyways, so going back to Dustin Eddy, then Kamaru Usman chimes in saying, F that ref, I never want to have him ref one of my fights. And then Mark Goddard TKOs Kamaru Usman with a good, that could be arranged comeback on Twitter. So good for Mark Goddard standing up to Kamaru Usman. Aldo Jeremy Stevens, man, that co-main, everybody. I don't care who you are. Let's face it, people. We all wrote Jose Aldo off. The 13 seconds took his heart, and Max Holloway in back-to-back fights took his soul. Jose looked like a dead fish. I mean, for a while, it looked like the only guy he could beat is Frankie Edgar, you know? But here's the deal. You have to give this guy credit because he, I'm sure, heard all the naysayers talk that he's done, that it's over, that it's time for him to move on. But you know what? And I am no Jose Aldo fan by any means. Congrats go out to him because Jeremy Stevens is a vicious hard hitter. That's who the fook that guy is. He is a hard hitter. He does put people to sleep. And he had Jose, he stung Jose really fast. And Aldo just fought through it, and that body shot he hit Jeremy with was a body shot from like a decade ago. That was WEC Jose Aldo. You know, like I said, I don't like the guy, but you got to give the guy credit where credit is due, you know? He bit down on that mouth guard and Bob Jeremy Stevens. And there was some stuff of should the fight have been stopped that soon? Should it have continued? No. When you are on the ground, turtled up, and someone is raining punches on you, why should a ref sit there and let you get pummeled for any length of time? It's plain to see you're done. Okay? So, once again, another ref doing another good job. Another person coming back from the doldrums, if you will, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, Joanna champion. Joanna, I will let you know I am still the queen champion, Jędrzejczyk. Taking a decision over the tiny tornado, Tisha Torres. And look, here's the thing. Joanna was dominant. She's the most dominant female strawweight ever. Despite those 2 losses to Rose, Joanna's still, in the history books, there's no denying it. But take a look on Sherdog, guys. Look at Joanna's record. Look at her stats. She's not known for finishing people. despite the high level of volume punches and kicks and just the bull rush that she does, she doesn't finish people. She normally wins by a decision, whether it's a unanimous or it's a split. I'm not taking anything away from her. I think she's one of the best. One of these days, when her career is over, she'll go into the UFC Hall of Fame. But she's not a finisher. And if people like, I don't know, T Wood or, geez, I can't think of anybody off the top of my head, but all the guys that don't get credit because they don't, quote unquote, finish people, Joanna has to be in that group as well. And look, I'm a big fan of Tisha Torres. She trained with Rose. Rose, I don't know if gave her all the secrets on how to beat Joanna. And I thought she did good, but she just couldn't, up against the fence, she didn't bring it to that next level, She's always been that second tier fighter. And as far as I'm concerned, that's where Tisha stayed, on that second tier. Not that that's anything, to sneeze at. I mean, that could whoop my butt any day of the week. And of course, the main card started off with Alexander Hernandez taking out the Canadian gangster OAM, Olivier Aubin Mercier, who, by the way, was on a 4-fight winning streak. And there's a lot of reasons to like OAM, not just his 1970s porn mustache, but Alexander Hernandez just made his mark. This is the jumping point where he now climbs the ladder. And let's just see if we can online what the rankings are as of yet. Now, granted, the new rankings haven't come out yet, and they won't for a while. But going into the fight, Alexander was ranked 13th. I could see him possibly going up to 11th. I don't think he can crack 10 yet. But he's made his mark. And although Olivier will be heard from again, this by far is not the end of him by any stretch. The fact of the matter is, it's a bad step backwards for him. Now, out of every single fight on that undercard, Islam Makhachev against Kaijin Johnson. Holy smokes. I mean, first of all, this is the dawning of the generation of the Dagestanis. Islam, geez, it's another finish for him. He's now on a 4-fight winning streak. He's 16-1. I mean, I don't think there's a bad Dagestani fighter at all. I really, really don't. These guys train 24/7, 365, and they're all Makhachev, Nurmagomedov, Turbinatov, Hermanatov, Volinatov, Sharapayov. It's like that scene in The Miracle where Herb Brooks, played by Kurt Russell, is just ripping apart this of, that of, this of, that of, about the Russian hockey team. Every single Dagestani MMA fighter is on another level. BJJ might be the big thing, but I'll tell you what, these Sambo fighters are on like another level. They really are. And, you know, Islam's a training partner of Khabib. And you got to give Islam credit. His post-fight comments saying that he wants a top 15 fighter. And I'll tell you what, call me crazy, but I'd honestly like to see Alexander Hernandez take on Islam. Now, I don't know if that'll happen. Maybe it'll be like a Dan Hooker type first. But Islam against Alexander Hernandez, that sounds pretty good to me. It really, really does. You know, and you got to wonder if that fight does go down, does Alexander just pummel and fight through Islam, or can Islam wrap Alexander up in some sort of a submission and tap him? Because the Cajun fight was his 7th career submission, as he went to now 16-1. Man alive. Look at it like this. Khabib is 26-0. Islam is 16-1. Zabit is, let's see if we could pull up his record. He's 15-1. I mean, these guys are, like I said, on another freaking level. But you got to give credit to Islam having some fun in his post-fight comments, calling out a top 15 fighter, calling out Brock Lesnar, calling out Tony Ferguson, all with Khabib standing next to him smiling. So you got to give him credit. And the other fight that I'd like to say on the prelims was Caitlin Chuchukagian. I love saying her last name, and we're actually working with possibly getting her onto the program. But her beating Alexis Davis by unanimous decision, and she beat Alexis Davis, not her twin, Sarah Kaufman, because apparently Sarah Kaufman was up there working for MMAfighting.com, not to give them a plug, but she did some work with them. And apparently people at the hotel, including someone who actually knows Alexis Davis and Sarah Kaufman, kept walking up to Sarah Kaufman and calling her calling her Alexis Davis. And I just don't get calling somebody by the wrong name. I don't get it. That's, you're supposed to be an MMA fan. You're supposed to know who you like. You're supposed to know these people. I don't get it. But let's talk some interim belts, okay? Uh, there does these interim belts mean anything? Not really. I mean, it's at a point now where interim belts are, and I hate to say it, but they are basically fake belts. You know, the whole Colby Woodley, Darren Till situation. It's messy, and they knew it was going to happen sooner than later. Now, that being said, I think the featherweight division either needs an interim belt, and that would be a fight between Brian Ortega and Jose Aldo. It has to be those two. Those two for either the interim belt. I hate to say it, you strip Max and you make Brian and Jose fight for the real featherweight strap. Or you do a tournament. It has to come to that. It really does. Max's health is more important than that strap that he's wearing. And he's a big, for you guys who don't know, I'm sure you guys have all heard from everybody on the inside, he is a huge guy. He cuts a lot of weight to get to 155. 145. He should be at 155. And I think this whole physical situation with him is the beginning of the end for him at featherweight. I don't think anywhere else really needs an interim strap. I think the smoke is starting to clear in every division. Of course, except for the two big ones, light heavyweight and heavyweight, but that's... Geez, this DC situation, man. They should have learned with Conor about these super fights. And you would have imagined that they would have learned their lesson. But the reason why... Here's the thing about super fights. They let Conor do it because Conor brought in crazy amount of money all over the place. They let DC do it because he's been a company man for so many years, and he's at the end of his career. The whole problem with letting somebody do that is now you backlog two divisions. And does Corey Anderson at light heavyweight deserve a title shot? Well, look at it like this. DC's already said he doesn't want to fight Gus. Vulcan, he's beaten and he's hurt anyways. Allaire would be an interesting fight. Jimmy Manoa just doesn't do anything. So Corey would be an interesting fight. But me personally, I think the one that I'd like to see is DC against OSP for the light heavyweight strap. But, look, I'm not Sean Shelby. I'm not Dana White. Not anybody in the company. So, I can only say what I hope. And speaking of the rankings, look, here's the thing. A lot of companies, Bellator, Invicta, ONE FC, none of these companies use rankings. And the rankings, if you don't know, are done by 15 members of the MMA media. I, of which, am not one lucky enough to be part of the ranking system. Otherwise, there would be at least one person who knows what they're doing. Here's what you have to understand. these guys that do the rankings try their best. But a lot of times you have to question what they're smoking on where they put people, both in the pound for pound rankings and in the divisional rankings. And let's face it, the UFC now with WME IMG, they're now more money fight anyways. So it might be time for the UFC to just say, hey, this guy's hot, let's put them in a cage and see what happens. This guy's cold, let's put him in a cage, see what happens. It might truly be time to end the era of rankings in the UFC. It really, really might. Which is sad because I can see the point where rankings should mean something. If you look at boxing and the boxing rankings, those things are corrupt. The boxing media is corrupt. The boxing organizations are corrupt. So the way they do things are a little shady, to say the least. And by little shady, that's like saying I'm a little fat. It's a lot shady in boxing. At least in the UFC, it truly is a little shady on our rankings. But it might be a time to end them. Some other news has recently come out. And by recently, I mean early this morning. One of Russia's top organizations, and it's the thing that we're doing today, talking about Russians all over the place. I know I'm not bringing up our president, Mr. Trump, but arguably one of Russia's top organizations, ACB, which is the Absolute Championship Boycott organization, they have canceled their next 3 events. And they've done so due to lack of funding. Okay, which is, I gotta say, really, really upsetting. Here's the thing. I just started working in part with Ground and Pound Promotions, which is, by the way, all the way upstate. It's like an hour and a half away from Montreal, Canada, in Whitehall, New York, at the Whitehall Athletic Club. And I'll give them a plug. October 27th is their next card. And later on in this show, we'll be talking more about Ground and Pound Promotions. But back to ACB. They've had to cancel, like I said, due to financial problems and also due to quote-unquote organizational issues, which means there's trouble in paradise. And that's not good. They aren't a bottom-rung organization. They're a mid-level company. And I get it. The whole planet is having problems with finances. But it's not a good situation. It's really, really not. When you have mid-level organizations canceling out events, it's a bad situation. And I'd like to think I'm a pretty smart guy. I got no clue on how to solve it. I mean, they're going to have to slice all their finance situations in half. They're going to have to go into major cost cutting, and A, that's going to be bad for the fighters, B, that's going to be bad for the organization, and C, honestly, that's going to be bad for the fans, because inevitably it's the fans who wind up seeing less of a product. Now, again, you guys can contact me on Twitter at CYCIE19. Head over, please, to CycloneComedy.com. I'm going to be adding a lot of new stuff to the website, so keep your eyes peeled to it. Head over to BoneheadPicks.com and read my MMA articles. And obviously, head over to Facebook, type in Psyche Prods, CYCIEPRODZ. Click like, click follow, and this way you can find out everything. Excuse me. Oh, that was, see, I wish I had like a burp button. That was such a pig, especially in the middle of my own plug. CYCIEPRODZ on Facebook, Psyche Prods. Click like, click follow, and enter the many raffles that I have. Now, speaking of raffles, later on, we're going to be doing a couple of little segments, including the first raffle question segment in a very long time. We're going to be talking what's going on in MMA later this week. And we're going to be talking about me and the amateur MMA organization, Ground and Pound Promotions. And we're going to do that all right after this.
Hi, I'm Jim Miller.
This is Dan Merigliotta.
I'm Derek Mercy.
I'm Nick the Carney Lentz, and you're locked into the cage with Cyclone.
Okay, guys. So, we are back. Had another sip of my Mango Madness. Nice and refreshing. It's also, by the way, nice and cold. I'm happy there isn't, like, ice formed in this, but this is absolutely ice cold and so darn delicious. Anyways, back to the business at hand. Ground and Pound. I like to consider myself a professional when I do things. I like to hold my level to high standards. But what you guys are about to see, sadly, is not a high level of professionalism. I've had a flip camp for a while, and I brought it up to Whitehall, New York, at the Whitehall Athletic Club for the Ground and Pound Promotions card, where I was doing kind of, Megan O'Leary type duties, doing post-fight interviews. And not only did the audio die on me, but the video died on me a bunch of times. And I gotta say, what you're gonna see is, as far as I'm concerned, on a scale from 1 to 10, a half. Not even a full one. It's a half. But I wanted to show you guys, A, what I was up to. B, I want to, give some of these fighters an extra boost, so people can get to know them. So that's why I put it up. I'm not really too happy with it. And one can only hope on their next card, which is, by the way, Saturday, October 27. Go to Ground and Pound Promotions on Facebook. Hit up Drew Nolan, who's the promoter, ring announcer, and also a fighter himself. This guy, I thought I do everything. This guy does everything. And I want to thank him personally for giving me the opportunity to come into the organization and for me to grow and to get better with my skills. I look forward to doing play-by-play with them pretty soon as well, becoming the Mauro Ranallo type as I delve into combat sports play-by-play. But anyways, without further ado, here is the video, or at least what footage survived from the dying camera, from two Saturdays ago, up in Whitehall, New York, at the Whitehall Athletic Club. Here's me interviewing a couple of fighters at Ground and Pound Promotion.
You're so young. Future moving up.
This is a heavyweight grappling contest. Scheduled for 5-minute round. There is no decision. The only way that can be a winner is a first submission. Give it up for these warriors. Let's get it on.
So, is it? You're young. You're fast as light. Do you think it's time for a nickname?
Not sure yet.
If I trademarked a nickname for you, would you take it and credit me for it?
Maybe.
Because
what do you got?
you hit Tommy like a cannon. And you know, you could do the logo with your cannon like your fist, just shooting through.
All right.
Did you think you were going into it? Did you think there was going to be a firefight?
Not really, no. I expect to do pretty good.
Were you rattled at all?
No. No.
Cool. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Keep up the great work, man.
Thank you.
Make some noise!
Fast swing. Now, let's be honest with one another. You got the fast swing because you spent so much time with me during the day that it just worked out, right?
Exactly. I got the good luck too.
So let me ask you right off the bat. By the way, where are you at in the
165 is my walk around. I'm comfortable. That's my I weigh 162 on average. 165 is comfortable. That's my last one.
You need probably wake up at all?
I did wrestling all my so I'm used to being able to come weight, whatever it needs to come.
Your mind on when you're seeing like
I like my situation. I'm a grown guy. This guy pulled out was going to stand up, try to keep it up there with him. As soon as eventually he's going to connect, I didn't want to get hit by that power. I took it down, do what I did best, move him out of the route.
a fighter never stops working. Whether you're the lowest grand strength in your amateur or you're someone like a Gabriel Coach, you always learn from that. Is there any part of your game right now that you think the guy stepped up a little bit?
Oh man, no. My stand-up game, I'm not really a boxer. I can throw a couple as you guys see tonight. I don't feel comfortable standing up and getting the fight out. I like to take it to the ground, submitting, knocking out, whatever I have to.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Congrats. First of all, Logo, I gotta ask you, did you think the fight was gonna go the way it went?
Oh, that was the game plan. My coach said go in there, take him down, side control, work for the arm triangle, and that's pretty good. Arm triangle, I think, did the second 8.5, so switch over to the that seemed to work better, and I got the top.
Now, a fighter never stops working.
That was a still very good man for the one who won that.
Let's see.
These two are monsters, and I would not want to be anything for these guys. I get hurt.
Doing pretty well. There's always room for improvement, but I usually just try to train everything at once. I don't really focus on boxing or jiu-jitsu. I try to stay more well-rounded, train everything.
After 5 minutes in the heavyweight grappling division.
Now, is there anybody you see?
The referee rules. Red corner.
Guy for a long time.
Hey, we'll see Carlos. Thank you so much for being here. You guys can stand up, brother.
Yeah, we were running probably 2 or 3 years ago.
There you go.
Scheduled another fight and then he showed up.
Next time we gotta get you
That guy to this day. I don't know if he'll be watching this, Joe, but I'd like to set it up.
You will be a favor. We'll want to see that guy over there. Let's talk to you after Sean's done talking, all right?
It's time to relax.
Hey, listen to something, you know that, right? Like, he's ready to get out of here. He's done, you know?
I'm going to finish watching.
So without further ado,
first thing
in the red corner, the big winner, Andre Dickinson!
It was a win. Another one for my gym. I'm excited I came out here again. I was going to go fight heavyweight MMA, and my guy backed out in the last time. Guys stepped up, did some grappling. Like we do every time we come out here, represent the team and give them all.
What makes Dragon so special?
We train there every day. Teammates, family. I've been there since I was 14. I'm 24 now. I've been there for 10 years. I've known Sensei my whole life pretty much, and he's like a second father to me. So it's more than just a dragon there. It's
Relentless. How does that feel? What's that belt now?
Feels great.
Going 7 times.
It's been a long time coming back, and we learn about it.
Were you expecting a firefight that
Let's see it up front.
Were you expecting it to be a firefight the way it was?
Yeah, I know he's an experienced fighter. I had to bust him my all. So I knew it was going to be a good fight.
Were you stung at all?
No, I wasn't stung too much. Fights, so pretty much know what it was.
So, the way the MMA is champions that lose their belt and media rematch. Wow, 2 belts for Dragons List, special night.
Yes, sir.
So what is it special that brings the gold straps to Dragons List?
It's all the guys coming in training every day with us. They got the heart, the best on us. That's what it is.
Now, you were in there with a bigger, stronger guy.
Yeah.
Did either one of those advantages bother you at all?
Not at all. It didn't phase my mind. I was staying to my game plan. Whatever worked, worked. If you try to take me down, I adjust. If you try to knock me the heck out, I adjust.
Now, what set up your win was one hell of a takedown by you. That's all right. I'm just not used to being called sir. So, is that something that you, especially as you practice a lot, is those type of heavy takedowns?
I'd say so. I mean, high school I was wrestling. It really helped me out, and going through Dragon there, we worked a lot on the takedowns. More of a stand-up school, but we have weights.
All right, see, I told you. This was not great. Not great at all. But it will get better. I'm working on getting a brand new camera. I'm working on becoming a better professional, so this way I can give you guys something to be proud to even watch. But like I said, you can head over to Facebook, Ground and Pound Promotions, October 27, Whitehall, New York. the Whitehall Athletic Club is the location for Ground and Pound Promotions. Get a ticket. I believe ringside is each side is 40, general admission is 30, and they have VIP seats with unlimited food and drink. I believe for like $375, and it's a table of 6. Like I said, hit them up and they will give you all the info better than I can. Alrighty. This week we have Tuesday, and I'm hoping this is actually up before it airs and happens, but Tuesday is the next Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series. And I'm actually a real... not that I... Okay, let's put it to you like this. I like Tough. I'm one of the few people who actually like Tough. I like some of the drama in the Tough House. It's always fun to watch. But the Contender Series is tough without all the drama. It's just get in, fight, get out, contract or no contract. And that's fun. It really, really is. And I don't really think there's been too many bad fights at all. There really I mean, there's been no sleeper fights, I think, during the Contender Series. And this week, one of the fights is Maurice Mitchell taking on Jordan Griffin. And the thing about Jordan that you guys are going to fall in love with is this guy is this guy's a big, big heavyweight. But not only is he a big heavyweight, he has an awesome beard. I mean, look, I have a goatee that when I wake up, it looks like my chin blew a party favor. You know, when I eat, I kind of look like a lion after he eats a gazelle. My goatee is sloppy. I can never get it right. This guy's beard is one of the coolest beards I've ever seen. And I got to admit, I hope to God before he fights, he doesn't shave it off. Because me giving him this plug and then him coming out clean shaven, not going to look good on my part. Then this Thursday, back on Strong Island in the Nassau County Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Uniondale, New York, the PFL returns. PFL 5 is the lightweights and the light heavyweights. And you got Brian Foster on the card. You got Will Brooks, Raheem Cleveland, Chris Wade. You got Rashad. I was going to say Rashad Evans. You have Rashid Magomedov. You got Islam Mamedov. See, more Dagestanis just all over the place. And they are... These guys just dominate. And don't be surprised, by the way, if a couple of Dagestanis win a couple of the championships in the PFL. And then Saturday. This coming Saturday is UFC 227. And look, it is a lighter pay-per-view card. Okay. Yeah, you have a great... You know what it is? It's sort of like... And I wish the poster would have been something like the word, like, in graffiti, like behind the fighters' faces, or superimposed over it, the word rematch, or something to that effect. Because that's what this pay-per-view is. It's a card of rematches. You have Cody TJ 2, DJ Henry Cejudo 2. And those are two really good, at least in the case of Cody and TJ, rivalry type fights. I mean, I don't think there's a big rivalry between DJ and Cejudo. I really, really don't. But obviously between Cody and TJ, there sure as hell is. And earlier on in the card, the fight that I'm most interested in, besides the Moicano Cub Swanson fight, and that's an fight for me, Alex Perez against Jose Shorty Torres. I think that is a fight that people are going to sleep on all night. But you know what? That might win fight of the night. If it's not one of the top two fights, I'm telling you, Alex Perez against Jose Torres, that might win fight of the night. Like I said, 227 is one of the lighter pay-per-view fight cards, which I will be lucky enough to be at Rivoli's in Howell, New Jersey, and I will be there with one female featherweight champion, Miss Chris Cyborg. Be hanging out, drinking and partying with her, watching the fight card. So I look forward to that. Yeah. Now, another segment that I want to do is this day in MMA history. And look, I've looked all over. I really have. And I haven't been able to find so much info that happened today. But today, in 1977, how am I older than him? Jeez. Now that I'm looking at this again with my own two eyes, I really feel decrepit. Fabricio Verdum turns 40 years old today. How am I? God. I just feel really low right now. Fabricio is 7 years younger than me. Jesus. Wow. That's depressing. I think after I'm done with this Madness Snapple, I think I'm going to go drink myself into oblivion. But in 2011, a very big Strikeforce card, Hendo, Dan Henderson TKOing Fedor, a million and one ankles. And then you had T. Wood beating Paul Daly. Excusez-moi. And then in 2016, you had double gun action. It was World Series of Fighting. Now, obviously, the PFL. Marlon Moraes taking on and beating Josh Hall for the second time via head kick. And you also had a tremendous UFC 201 card. Karolina Kovalevich beating Thug Rose back when she had long hair by split decision. And you had T. Wood, Tyron Woodley, becoming the welterweight champion, beating Robbie Lawler as the main event. Those three things happened on this date in MMA history. Now, you know how I was talking before about the pound-for-pound list? Well, if I was making my top list for the UFC, and granted, I go top dozen, I don't do top 15. But for me personally, I have Joanna at number 12, Darren Till at 11, Amanda Nunes at 10. Jose Aldo has now proven himself and needs to be at number 9 in my mind. TJ Dillashaw at number 8. I also have Brian Ortega at number 7. I have Khabib at 6. I think Bobby Knuckles, the Reaper, Robert Whittaker, number 5. I still have Stipe very high up. Stipe is my number 4 guy. The aforementioned Chris Cyborg, as far as I'm concerned, is number 3 pound for pound. Number 2, and it's really 1A, is DJ, Mighty Mouse himself, Demetrius Johnson. And my number 1 pound for pound guy is DC, Daniel Cormier, the champ. He has to be pound for pound number 1 right now. So let's me reach over and go into my grab bag, as it's now Facebook question time. And I will draw a number. And the number is number 8. Number 8. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Brady Greer. Mr. Greer is the winner for the Facebook raffle. Number 8, your question, Brady. What else does Poirier have to do to get his title shot? His resume at 155 is legit. Well, let's look at the quote-unquote UFC rankings. And yes, it absolutely is legit. Going into the fight, Eddie was 3, Dustin was 4. So, obviously, they're going to flip-flop. Tony's still ranked at 1. Conor is number 2. The fight that's going to obviously happen just for money, for because it's too big not to happen, is Conor and Khabib. That fight has to happen. I do believe that I heard rumblings after the UFC on Fox card that another lightweight fight should happen on that card. So this way fighters stay in range with each other. And I think it has to be Dustin Tony. Now, Tony is getting better from his injury. Khabib said he wants to fight preferably on the October 7th card in Vegas. Maybe New York. I would think the November card in New York or even the December New Year's card would be better for Dustin, to give Dustin a break. But I think those are the two pairs. I think Dustin needs one more fight, and I think that fight has to happen against Tony. And honestly, I don't know if he could beat Tony, Brady. I don't know if Khabib could beat Tony. I don't know if Conor could beat Tony. I don't know if Eddie could beat Tony. Only because Tony has that little crazy Yoda, Eddie Bravo, whispering in his ear. And when you have Yoda whispering in your ear, you normally win. So, Brady, I want to say congratulations to you, sir. I will hit you up later tonight, and your prize will be in the mail and on its way to you. Congratulations, sir. And to all the other people who entered, Wes, Brian, Brandon, Rudy, new entrants, as is Wes Taylor, Larry Lutz and Steve Gordon. Thank you for entering. Remember, there's the UFC 227 raffle coming up this weekend, so follow the Facebook page and enter. I hope you guys enter those raffles. Follow along the page. And we will wrap up this little shing-ding right after this.
I'm Dennis Bermudez. Hi, I'm Creepy Ian McCall.
Yo, I'm Kelvin Gastelum.
This is Mark Goldberg.
Yo, I'm the world's most dangerous man, Hall of Famer Ken Shamrock, and you're getting tapped out in the cage with Cyclone.
Alrighty. So, I want to remind everybody, please, Twitter, CYCIE19. It's Psyche19. Hit me up. Message me. Follow me. I'll follow you back. You know, it's tit for tat. It's one hand washes the other. You know? Like me, I like you back. Sort of like Sugar Smacks. Smack, smack, Sugar Smacks. Give me a smack, and I'll smack you back. Kellogg Sugar Smacks. So anyways, follow me on Twitter at CYCIE19. Head over to CycloneComedy.com. By the way, on that website, I will have brand new merchandise up, if not by the end of this week, early next week. New merchandising for you. Head over to boneheadpicks.com. Read all my MMA articles. And on Facebook, it is CYCIE PRODZ Psyche Prods. Click like, click follow, enter the raffles just like all those guys did. You could win a free prize. And who in the world doesn't like winning free stuff? The only thing it's costing you is liking and following a page. And I think, honestly, that's a fair trade. You like my page, you follow my page, I give you the opportunity to win something for free. Now, I'm not going to know exactly when the next episode is going to be of In the Cage with Cyclone. So please just keep following along. Okay? Okay. Now, just want to say, as I say goodbye, everyone please remember, no matter what you do in life, remember this one thing. If you cannot be an athlete, you can always be an athletic supporter. Bye-bye.